Book One One is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's a mindset, fitness, nutrition online coach, no other than Miss Charissa Halonen. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Charissa. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel. My name's Charissa. I'm a mindset coach. I use fitness and nutrition to help people transform their lives from the inside out.
Yes, indeed, inside out. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Let's talk about stronger than your excuses. Can you tell us about this?
Absolutely. In order to make progress in your life, you have to push past those things that are always going to try and keep you small and keep you limited. So there's always going to be an excuse to do it tomorrow or, I'll start next Monday. But those excuses just keep you limited. You cannot build your best version if you're always leaning into your excuses instead of leaning into discomfort, where you will actually find out what you are truly capable of and challenge yourself every day.
Very well said, Mr. Riza. Very well said. What does stronger than your excuses fundamentally mean to you beyond just a catchy phrase?
For me, it's a phrase that helps me see what more I'm actually capable of and seeing where I'm allowing myself to be a little bit comfortable because I have some success in fitness and in my mindset, my marriage, all of those things I've leveled up. But if I'm not always looking for ways to where can I improve, then my comfort level will also meet that standard. So being stronger than the excuse of, oh, I've reached this point, I don't have to work as hard, is really important driver for me to just keep going, because there is always another level that you can reach no matter how much success you have.
How can someone honestly distinguish between a valid reason and an excuse they're using to avoid action?
So a valid reason would be something that it is not actually physically possible for me to do that, versus an excuse is I don't feel like doing it. And knowing that difference of, my motivation is gone or I'm not as inspired to go and do it, versus I physically cannot do that. And for the most part, there are very few things that are actually legitimate reasons to not do the things. Most of the time it's just an excuse.
Miss Teresa, in your experience, what are the one and two most common underlying fears or beliefs that fuels people most persistent excuses?
One is the fear of not being good enough, and the other is the fear of the unknown. We like to know what's next and we don't like change, but that's usually, those are the two biggest ones that keep people stuck in excuses and limiting belief loops.
Limiting belief, for sure, they combine together and procrastinating. What's a practical, immediate action someone can take today to start silencing a nagging excuse?
Take one small action. So if you're telling yourself, I'll get up and do it tomorrow, just do it now. Even if it's 5 body weight squats or reading one page of a book or having a healthier snack choice, just one simple, immediate action will help silence the excuses.
Baby step indeed. What specific mindset shift is absolutely crucial for someone to become stronger than their excuses?
Asking yourself, why not me?
Yes. Why not me, people? Why not me? Go for it. If you have something, if you have passion for something, go for it. Can you share a powerful personal example of a time you had to overcome a significant excuse?
So when I finished university, like finished high school going into university, I went from being a competitive ballerina to being a university student. So I actually put on 65 pounds. And I found myself using food to cope and not doing the same amount of exercise I had done in high school. And I wasn't pleased or proud of the person that was in the mirror. I had gone up to almost 200 pounds. And I had to work through the excuse of, it's just genetics, or, I'll get to it next week. I have too much on my plate. But really it was realizing that I had been telling myself that excuse for months, and it was just time to get to work.
Yes. Too much excuses, people. Too much. So, can you share or how do people break the cycle of falling back on the same old excuses repeatedly?
By taking action. When you prove to yourself that you can actually do it today or do more than you think you can, then that action exposes yourself to the fact that what you were telling yourself as a story was actually false. So taking action in the moment will always contradict that excuse that you have. And then that allows your mind to see the potential in going with the action versus living in that excuse.
Yes, people do it now. Why is focusing on small, consistent actions often more effective than waiting for massive motivation to strike when battling excuses?
Because it's actually the small, simple steps that build you to success. All those big, grand things are just stories that allow people to stay in procrastination. It's the same as getting dressed. We don't wake up in the morning and all of our clothes are on at once. We take one sock, the other sock, our underpants, our shirt, our pants, one step at a time for us to make progress. And that is the same with everything in life. It has to be simple, consistent things that create that fundamentally big change you're looking for.
It's a universal thing, people. Universal thing. Be consistent in everything. How does someone's environment, like people, physical space, or routines, support or sabotage their efforts to overcome excuses?
So there's a saying out there that you are the sum total of the people that you spend time with. So if you have four people that are lazy, you will be the fifth. If you have four people that are active, determined, go getters, you'll be the fifth. So, what you listen to, what you consume in your body and in your mind, and the people that you surround yourself with are very, very important, because they're either going to be building you towards your best version and excited for your goals, or they're going to be holding you back and embracing your limitations, the excuses, and telling you, oh, it's okay. You don't have to do that today. You can do it later. But a lot of times that comes from them not wanting you to do better than they are, and keeping you small helps them feel better in themselves. So your environment in every aspect is so important in whether or not you will succeed.
Yes, indeed. And what role does accountability play in overcoming excuses? What are the some effective accountability methods?
Accountability is huge. There's different levels of it. So, radical self accountability, meaning that every action or inaction that you've taken in your life, you own. Did I choose to have an extra piece of pizza and not go to the gym? I have to own that. And being accountable for how you're showing up in life. Are you showing up 100% full send, or are you only showing up 50%, wishing that you would get the result even though you're not fully showing up? When you are accountable for every choice, every action, every thought in your life, it creates power for you to create change because it's not somebody else's fault. Everything good, bad, or indifferent comes from you, which means you can change anything that you don't like.
Do your best, people. Do your best 100%. And how do you balance being kind to yourself during setbacks without letting that compassion become another excuse for inaction?
You remind yourself that your best is different every day, but even if there's a slight sidestep, you can always get back on track. It's taking that action in the very next moment to get yourself back in alignment versus just allowing yourself to take a whole day or a week off of it. Just knowing that there are going to be points where you stumble a little bit, but that doesn't mean that you have to come off the track or that it's a complete failure. It's usually just an opportunity to pivot and refocus.
Yes, pivot people and focus to your goals in life and be consistent because that's one of the key to success. Why is simply taking any action, no matter how small, often the most potent antidote to excuses?
Because you're proving to yourself that you can. You're proving to yourself that you are capable past that excuse that's keeping you small. And it's depositing into the bank of self trust.
How can changing one's perspective on failure and imperfection help dismantle the excuses related not being ready or good enough?
So if you reframe that to this is an opportunity, failure is always just data. Where can I improve? How can I move forward from here? What lesson did I just learn? Versus that did not go the way that I wanted to, so I'm just not going to do it. It's always just finding what little nuggets that you can in the process and know that failure is what is supposed to happen along your journey. There's no way of being perfect. It's literally just finding the next best thing to do after a failure and trying slightly differently. So then you're proving to yourself that you are good enough to keep going because you don't give up when there's some challenge.
Yes, people, don't be afraid to commit failure or don't be or mistake because you will learn from them. You make not perfect, but at least better than before. And Miss, how can vividly visualizing the negative consequence of giving into the excuse or the positive outcomes of overcoming it provide the necessary push?
So sometimes we don't even have to visualize what the negative outcome is because if you're falling to your excuses, you're living it. So a lot of times it's visualizing what would happen if I did the opposite of what my excuse is telling me. Because once we introduce the what happens if this goes better than I thought, what happens if this is more incredible than I thought versus just the negative side, then that creates that space for the positivity to exist and that opportunity for you to actually take that action versus just continuing to live in the negativity of leaning into excuses.
Miss Charissa, how does overcoming our own excuses impact and inspire the people around us, often in the ways we don't expect?
It shows people what's possible, right? When I lost that 65 pounds, I did it for my own health, but I didn't realize that it inspired others to get their health under control as well. I didn't think the simple habits of reading books and getting up early would be inspiring to other people, but that shows people that there are simple ways to improve your life that are available to anybody. So, really, it creates a massive positive impact that you don't always understand in the moment.
Congratulations, Miss Teresa, for giving yourself a better you. And as a mindset, fitness, and nutrition online coach, what are your short term and long term goals?
So, my short term goals is to impact every person that I meet and help them be better from our interaction in the long term. And my long term goal is to help a million people transform their life from the inside out so that they too are living their best version, which will impact so many other people and create more positivity in the world.
Definitely more positivity. Always optimistic people, not pessimistic. And good luck to your goals, Miss Arisa, and looking forward for more success. What would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a mindset coach, to be a fitness coach, or nutrition online coach?
To start today and get very comfortable with being misunderstood and just getting comfortable telling your story and showing up every day. It's important to show the world that there is a different way to be.
Yes, indeed. Right now, people, right now, and stop procrastinating. Dismantle your excuses. For sure, you have a lot of excuses, but if you want to be succeed in life, remove all those excuses and just do it. Just do it, people, and be consistent. Miss Teresa, what are your or what books that influence your journey?
One of my favorite books is Chop Wood and Carry Water by Joshua Medcalf. And it talks about falling in love with the process of becoming your best version. It's not about the outcome. It's not about the relationship, the weight loss, the physique. It's about the journey to become that person that can achieve those goals. So it really just drives in chop wood, carry water every day, back to those simple fundamentals. And that will continue to build you in incredible ways that you won't necessarily even know right off the start.
Thank you for your recommendation, Miss Teresa. Thank you so much. And how can identifying and leveraging our existing strength help us overcome areas where we tend to make excuses?
So knowing where you're limited, know you can see where there's work to be done. Say you have resistance in eating healthier. You need to look a little bit long term. How do you want to feel when you're 80? That might be a little bit hard for somebody who's 20, but if you start looking at things for what do I want to feel in my life and what do I want to create, then that allows you to make better choices now and not lean so much into your excuses so that you can feel your best now and also work towards achieving a better version in your older years.
The better of you, for sure. The older, the more you are, let's say, responsible enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And what's the most damaging or pervasive lie that excuses often tell us about ourselves or our capabilities?
The most pervasive lie is I don't have enough time and
Yes.
that I can't do it. Not true. Everybody has the same amount of time. It's this thing that you're telling me that you don't have enough time for is not a priority to you. So, being radically honest with yourself about what is actually important will show you where you're lying to yourself. And once we understand that, we can move forward from it. And the other lie of not being good enough is not true. You are exactly uniquely perfect as you are. You don't have to be anybody other than yourself. And so, that in itself, you are exactly perfect as you are.
Perfect as you are, people, love yourself and edify yourself. Beyond the initial goal, what are some unexpected positive changes people often experience once they consistently become stronger than their excuses?
People get excited about their lives, excited about the possibility of achieving the goals or having bigger goals than they thought in the beginning. When we lean into our excuses, the goals that we have seem to be pretty small because our excuses are very strong. But when you start proving to yourself that you can do the things that you want to do and you keep showing up and doing them, you have this excitement and that creates momentum, and your dreams get bigger in your life.
Definitely. Bigger, better, and bolder for sure. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Miss Charissa, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 is second season. Now, fourth season, people, Geography 101. And my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in its third season, and Movie 101 Review in its fourth season, as well as my Music 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. Miss Sarisha, if you could give one piece of direct, no excuses allowed recommendation to someone feeling utterly stuck and ruled by their excuses right now, what would it be?
Start today and get up and do one simple thing: go for a walk. Moving allows your mind to process things. So, by starting and just going for a simple walk, it's that thing that proves to yourself that you can actually do what you say you're going to do. And that alone will help change your life.
Yes, Miss Charissa Halonen. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy as well as your business itself?
Absolutely. I'm most active on Instagram at the.relentless.couple. We are there to have answers to any questions that you have. We show what we do every day and happy to explain what the program's all about if you're interested in transforming your life.
Yes, people, I support Miss Charissa Halonen because if you support her, more and more and more empowering coaching to come, and for sure more and more empowering business to come. So Miss Charissa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time today, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.